What is up? Whoa, we got echoes. We got echoes going on. We good? We good? I think we're good now. Guys, what is up? This is the Painted Lines post-game show for the Sixers versus the Hornets game 2 of the series. And I'm with my guys at Dibes, at Mr. Crockpot on Twitter, and we got Tiago at T-Scabby on Twitter. Go give him a follow if you don't already. The Sixers came away with the W tonight. I believe the score was 110-106, and I'll tell you what, it got scary. It got scary at the end, but let's talk about it. Dibes, what's going on, my friend?
What's going on, brother? Oh, good to be back. Good to be back. Talking Sixers, talking shop with my boys. Let's dig in here because even though the Sixers got the win, there's some layers to this game, some layers to the Sixers offense I really want to deep dive into tonight.
100%. How about you, Tiago?
Well, first I want to know what's that little dog right behind you there, Justin?
Yeah,
There's a little pup right there.
This is my blind old Maltese.
Nice.
She's a sweetheart, but she is very blind, and so she just if you hear her growling, it's because she doesn't know what she's looking at.
I mean, the good thing is she doesn't get to watch Doc Rivers' offense, which is kind of nice. We have to do that on a nightly basis.
Oh man, Tiago! Before we're 2 minutes into this, and you're already throwing shade. 2 minutes in.
First of all, like Chris said, most important, they got the win. That's what's most important. You know, they got guys coming back from COVID. Now, granted, Charlotte was down two of their best players, and the Sixers still needed practically overtime and like the last bit of the game to win. But you know, the Sixers are going to be tested coming up here against Utah and Golden State, and it's good to get a couple wins under your belt moving forward.
100%. Now, I think a guy that we need to talk about is Joel Embiid, who has definitely shown. He's definitely had a better 2 games than he had going into this away trip or road trip. That's what I was trying to think of. Road trip. Tonight, what did he have tonight? He had 32 points in 32 minutes, which you love to see that, on 8 of 17 shots, 15 free throws out of 19. Now, obviously, it's not typical that the Sixers are going up against this kind of depleted of a team. It's not typical that they're going up against a team who has legitimately no actual big man on the floor. So you got to expect for Joel to have a big game like this, but it's definitely refreshing to see. So what do you guys think about Joel? Tiago, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, Joel is the type of player, obviously, who's going to eat anytime he goes up against a team that doesn't have a standard center. And you're going to throw P.J. Washington out there. It's not going to happen. Nick Richards is not going to happen. But I think Joel's game extends even beyond that. I was looking up some numbers before the podcast. Since he's come back in about, I think 2 weeks or so, there's a total of 6 games. He's accounted for over 40% of the team's free throw attempts. Think about that. I mean, that is dominant basketball. And I think it speaks to where he's at health-wise. I think he's rounding back into form, and I think speaks to his aggressiveness as an attacker. And I think that's something we saw a little bit less of to start the year. But I think as the team and as the season is progressing more and more into critical games, you're starting to see Embiid assert himself into the season as a physical force. And you saw that, and definitely saw that in those 2 game stretches, particularly tonight. And it bodes well for the Sixers, man, because their free throw shooting is one of the best in the league. Joel is obviously a very good free throw shooter. And it's how they're getting offense late in games. You isolate Joel, you go one-on-one against a guy like P.J. Washington. It's either a bucket or a free throw. So, yeah, all positive signs pointing positive for Joel so far.
100%. I've definitely noticed him getting more aggressive going to the cup lately, so I definitely agree with that. How about you, Dibes?
Yeah, I mean, as Joel Embiid goes, so do the Sixers. The Sixers are now 7-0 when Joel Embiid scores 20 points or more. And just to piggyback off of what Tiago just said, I agree completely. You see this guy's getting his legs back. I go right to that third quarter. Joel Embiid had 15 points in the third quarter, 9 of 9 from the free throw line in that quarter. Seth and Embiid had 28 of the Sixers' 31 points in that quarter, but he had massive moments at the major moments in the fourth quarter where he had a pull-up 3 at the top of the key, and then he had one of the best dunks of the year with 2 minutes remaining that really was jaw-dropping. It's on our channel now. I just put it up. But for me, you look at Joel Embiid getting it done in the paint, and that is something you'd love to see. He's now 18 of 21 at the rim over the last 3 games. 18 of 21. Let's freaking go. He's guy, like Tiago said, he struggled majorly in that fourth quarter. He's now getting buckets when they need it, and we have seen it since returning from injury. There's still a lot of issues with this offense. There are still a lot of issues with this offense, but I love to see Embiid getting going in the right direction. MVP was back tonight.
And so just a little more point on that, Justin, because I think it's important. Like, even when Embiid doesn't touch the ball late, and we saw it on the Danny Green 3, I mean, they're flowing 3 or 4 guys towards him in the paint, and that leaves a wide open Danny Green 3. So he's creating for others, even though he's not even touching the ball, which is a very critical component for the Sixers to win these games late.
Can I talk about this? When can we talk about?
Yeah,
this?
I was actually literally going to bring this up next when you were talking about how there's offense is kind of weird. I was going to say something that is also weird is that Maxey, like beginning of the season with Embiid and Tobias kind of fluctuating in and out of the lineup, when you saw Maxey get a lot of opportunity in this offense, and it feels like that opportunity has been just gone completely down the drain. In that half court, there seems to be no plays that are ran for him unless they're throwing it around the top, around the arc, and it's just him busting towards the rim trying to get there. But other than that, I'm not seeing any pick and rolls really. I'm not seeing – it's a lot of balls stopping in the ISOs, and it's just it's not looking good. It's not looking good, I'll be honest.
2 freaking shots in the second half by Tyrese Maxey. We've been complaining about the Sixers offense. It is dead at times. Tyrese never even touches the freaking ball. Doc literally hides the guy in the corner. He's not involved at all in this offense. His role is basically catch and shoot. And on that rare occurrence, he actually, gets a bucket in the fast break. You just saw him in November just dominate in the pick and roll, dominate with the mid-range and the floaters in the half-court set. Can we stop running Seth and Embiid two-man game? It's just nonstop. It's like, I don't know about you, Tiago, but like it's pretty evident on my end that Tyrese is a better fit with the bench. And I've been saying this forever. That's why I've been a component of like, trade Ben for a point guard, put Maxey on this bench. He does not fit with this slow pace offense at all. You just see him. He is such a lightning rod in the fast court with Matisse, and just run, baby, run. And Doc just doesn't change a damn thing with this offense. It's the same damn thing every freaking time.
You're 100% right. You look at it, and I loved your point that you made about how Maxey seems to fit better with the bench. It's 100% true, and this is something that I think I even spoke on early in the season, that it wouldn't shock me if Doc decided to put Shake in the starting lineup and keep Maxey with the bench unit. And it's simply because the types of centers and the type of ways they run the offense completely different when Embiid is on the court or off the court. When Embiid's off the court, you see Andre Drummond and Shake Milton run pick and rolls pretty consistently. It's pretty consistent in my opinion. And then when you see Embiid on the court, it's a lot of ball stopping and standing around and catch and shoot. And what has Shake Milton been one of the best people at doing since high school? Catch and shoot threes. So to me, I completely agree with you. So Tiago, what is your thought?
I mean, there's so much to unpack with Maxey, because I don't know how you can watch Maxey in November and think the best use of Maxey is to put him in the corner and watch him. And I see him follow the same blueprint that Doc used for Ben Simmons. So we watched a lot of Sixers basketball last year. It was Ben Simmons dribbling the ball up the court, handing it off to Curry, handing it off to Harris, and kind of sit in the corner, setting screens and, watching the game from the dunker spot. It's inconceivable that he's being used this way. I just can't fathom what goes through the meeting rooms for him to decide that's the best way to use Maxey. And it's really, in my opinion, leaves a lot of offense off the table, because like Chris was saying, I mean, Maxey, man, in transition, we saw one time in transition when he got the ball and pushed and connected with Tybo running down the lane. I mean, that is easy offense. And for a team that struggles to create in the half court, how can you be one of the lowest paced teams in the NBA with Maxey on the court? I mean, to me, it's inconceivable. And I even go a step further, because again, when you watch the Sixers offense, they don't put a lot of pressure on the rim. It's like you said, a lot of dribble handoffs, a lot of, perimeter stuff. And Maxey is one of the guys who can get downhill, get to the lane, drive and kick or finish, and they do not use him in that role. So I don't understand what's going on behind closed doors, obviously, but for Maxey to have these minutes where he just goes in and out of the court and adds absolutely nothing, it's crazy.
It's so evident that there are times in this game when they have no one that can dribble the goddamn ball. Nobody that can handle the ball. And you look at Maxey in this offense, it's like Seth or Embiid, two-man game, or pass the ball to Danny Green or Tobias, and he'll create a shot with like literally 5 seconds remaining. That's your offense. While we just watched Tyrese Maxey just blow people up in the pick and roll for an entire month. It's like Doug Peterson and the Eagles blowing people away with the running game. In the next 8 possessions, they don't run the damn ball again. I just don't know what Doc is looking at times here.
And I'll go a step further. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry. Listen.
At the beginning of the season, I honestly thought a big reason why they wanted Maxey in the starting lineup was a defensive issue. I thought it was Maxey at this point, even though he's smaller than Shake Milton, has been showing to have more upside on the defensive end. So I felt like that's what it was. But at this point, I don't think you can make that argument. Like, I feel like they're pretty like the same, other than maybe the fact that Shake gets has more fouls people more often, but at least he stays in front of guys more often, in my opinion. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I first thought the upside was Maxey's defense, but I don't see that as much. So it's become a little bit more confusing to me. Now, something I think that's very important to discuss about this game and about the Sixers, not even just this game and the opponent they've been going up against, but in general. Long athletic wings.
Yeah.
Long athletic wings. And I know both of you really want to talk about this and get into this discussion. Now, Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre, Cody Martin, or was it Cody or was the other one? Caleb, or I don't know. One of the two.
Yeah,
one of them. Book Knight. It's so evident that any championship level, and obviously Hornets aren't championship level team, but every team in the league that's a championship level contender has very good wings that are offensive minded players. And the Sixers can't guard any of them without Ben Simmons. So it's like, what are you guys thinking about these athletic wings and how the Sixers are doing with them?
This goes to Matisse for me. Like, this is now going into that Matisse Thybulle territory where it's very clear that he's not the ball stopper that Ben is. And we have seen it over and over and over again. He's not filling those shoes. And that, quite frankly, that's not his game. Matisse is more that guy that needs to roam up in his zone defense and create chaos. And he needs someone else to lock up someone else's perimeter defender to really be effective. And we don't really have that perimeter stopper anymore. But Matisse Thybulle having no offensive game is really just unbearable at this point, where it doesn't even look like he's trying to attack the rim at all anymore. At all. He's not shooting threes. He's not attacking the rim. What is he doing on this team besides just, a steal and a block here and there? It is a major detriment. And I haven't really seen him take that next step defensively or offensively.
Tiago, what is your thoughts on Matisse?
I have a lot of thoughts on Matisse. I think that
specific to what the argument is, what's your thoughts?
I think we're at a point in Matisse's career where, this may be just the player that he is. And I think for us to expect anything else from Matisse at this point, considering he was a 5-year senior at Washington, he's been in the league now for 3 years. I mean, that's the player that he is, a borderline All-NBA defender and a borderline unplayable player on offense. And that's just the player.
We have 2 of those.
Yeah. So that to me speaks to a matchup player, not a rotational player. And that's in Doc's rotation, he's a fixture. It's a 25 to 30-minute guy that comes in and can hijack your offense from spacing standpoint for the ability to hit shots, but play good to above average to elite defense. Against a team like Charlotte, where they don't have a lot of guys who can really attack offensively, perhaps you play him less in favor of a guy like Isaiah Joe. You give him some defense and give him way more offense. So, but to the original point that Justin was saying, the athleticism and the Sixers defense is a massive question mark. It's a massive problem. And we saw them getting back cut to death today. I mean, Gordon Hayward, Book Knight, Oubre, it was a constant show. Back Bridges, absolutely. And the Sixers have to address them. And if they don't address anything else in the trade deadline, that is something they have to address, either through a trade or getting a guy up like Shaq Harrison or Aaron Henry from the G League, just some size of the perimeter, because you cannot have, for instance, a guy like Georges Niang play whatever in 20 minutes, take 2 threes, and give you the defensive kind of performance that he has, because he bleeds points. He absolutely bleeds points defensively. So the Sixers are in a bind, but they're figuring out ways to compete with that kind of just bleeding points in the perimeter. So,
did you see Furkan Korkmaz get put in a blender tonight? That was bad. Was that Gordon Hayward? I'm not sure who that was. Or is that
it was Hayward? Yeah, it was
Hayward. Yes, 100% Gordon Hayward.
Korkmaz is getting cooked, baby.
I will say, let's be completely honest though. Is it surprising that a player of Gordon Hayward's caliber is cooking Furkan Korkmaz? No,
it is off the dribble. I mean, off the dribble, it is, because Gordon Hayward has like a 7-second 40 time, and he's just like running through the Sixers defense.
That's so disrespectful.
I mean, he's like the same boat out there. I'm like, what the hell's going on out here?
Basically, any player that was formerly a Boston Celtic, Thiago is going to trash on him. Is what I'm hearing here.
In the hierarchy of Celtics players, is at the very low end.
Oh
my goodness. So yeah.
Hey Joe, I mean, this question by Yams, our boy here, says, I don't understand why Doc does not play Isaiah Joe. You're looking for pick and roll defense. You're getting bodied. You're getting bullied in the paint again and again and again. It's been a pattern all season. No Isaiah Joe. Thiago.
Hey, man. He's quiet right now. Guy came in last game, hit 2 threes.
Yeah.
Went straight to the bench. You never heard his game again. Never heard his name again. At this point, I don't know what he's got to do. Maybe sleep with somebody's daughter or something. I don't know.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing with Isaiah Joe. And obviously, it's hard to understand why he's not playing a lot or at times. But then again, it's also hard for me to understand why he would play at times, because it's not like he gives you an exceptional thing better than other people at this moment in his career, or at least that anyone that Doc has seen at this point. Because I feel like, dude, shut up. Don't bark at me.
Doesn't agree with you, and I agree with your dog.
Clearly.
I completely agree with your dog.
My dog can't even see what she's watching. We talked about this. How's she gonna know?
What is Korkmaz giving you right now, man?
Nothing.
I'm not. Okay, listen. I'm not saying that Korkmaz is giving you something. What I'm saying is that Korkmaz has been a proven player. They just signed him to this deal. I don't know. To me. See, I feel so weird right now holding my dog and talking to him. I don't know. To me, I feel like he's going with a guy who's a veteran, who's been in the league long, who Joel is comfortable with, who people on the court are comfortable with playing with, and he knows what he gets from Furkan. Mind you, he knows he gets inconsistency from Furkan, so I can't necessarily disagree with you either. It's
Furkan's been downright terrible for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Downright unplayable for 3 weeks.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that.
It runs him out there.
Yeah, Furkan Korkmaz played nearly 12 minutes in this game, 0 of 2 from 3-point range. He had a turnover and 3 rebounds. No points. Oh, wow. He's shooting 21% from 3.
Wow.
Oh, God. It's been bad. It's been bad, man.
Listen, imagine if Mike Scott was still on this team. We.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
man.
graduated from the Mike Scott School of Nonsense. So we got that going.
Okay, let me ask you guys a question, because it's a genuine thought that's going through my head. And mind you, Tobias had a pretty decent game tonight, so you can't say much. But at times, have you not and I shouldn't even say this as much, because George Niang, it's not like he's hitting a bunch of shots at a super consistent basis. But at times, are you guys like, man, sometimes I like George Niang on the court better than I like Tobias Harris?
Go
I'm
ahead,
not
Jay.
there, man. I'm not there. I understand there's a lot of hate towards Tobias.
It's not no, but here's the thing. It's not about hate on Tobias. It's more about I like that the guy at the 4 spot when he's playing with Joel will just shoot the ball.
Agree.
Like I like that the guy who's out at the 3-point line will just go up and shoot it even with a guy in his face, and he's making shots at a good enough rate. On top of that, if someone closes out on him, he can go in and he's not scared to go at someone at the basket. Like I like the simple play, and I think maybe it's just for a while Tobias was not making quick decisions, like for a few since he came back. Maybe that's why I'm saying that. But that's something that I noticed that George Niang is very good about making a quick decision. So
and the Sixers had like the blueprint around Joel back when Sarge was at the 4.
100%.
He was a classic catch and shoot guy. The Sixers offense was humming, and then they went down the Al Horford route, now the Tobias Harris route, and they just bogged down and slowed down around Joel. And you wish they would go back to a stretch 4, just catch and shoots like Niang, like you're saying, Justin. But they're not even the same level as basketball players. I know that people are going to point to some advanced stats with Niang on the court, with Tobias off the court. But you watch these games. I mean, Niang defensively cannot stand with anybody. And you see Tobias, trying to track Miles Bridges through screens and kind of holding his own and attacking off the dribble and kind of creating the way that he knows how to create. So I'm not there yet. I know that Tobias has been the next in line of the hate bucket with Ben Simmons out, but I mean, the Sixers aren't winning these games without Tobias either, man. I mean, they're just not. I'm sorry.
I should amend my statement in saying that I don't necessarily wish that he was there instead of Harris. What I mean is that when I see Niang making the quick decisions that he is I wish that was in Harris at times. The more quick decisions of just pulling up a 3 when it's available and just taking what the defense is giving you. Because I feel like a lot of times Tobias tries to create something that's not there, or he creates something that makes it harder on the offense or harder on himself. And a lot of times, and I feel like George Niang does a good job of just taking what's there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you gotta hope that 2020, 2021 Tobias comes back eventually.
Oh, you're not doing anything with this team if he's not there.
And I think too much of George Niang is a real thing. Tiago touched on the defense.
Yeah.
Him in that 10 to 15 minutes,
that's
goal. Love it. But a little more than that, I mean, we've been seeing even ISO George Niang over the last couple of weeks, and it's been brutal to watch. It's clear. It's clear as night as day.
At this point, Doc will ISO anybody except Maxey. ISO like the guy on the stands. He would ISO him. Maxey, no, you're in the corner, but we'll ISO whoever wants to get ISO.
I'm really crying on the inside. It's so bad. It's so bad.
So, guys, what do you guys need last minute takeaways? What do you guys got before we head out of here?
I like the Kate Scott drop in this game. Did anybody catch that she admitted to sexually assaulting people during her high school days?
I did. I 100% heard that, and I was like, did Kate Scott really just admit to hitting her friends in the balls for fun, to see if it hurt? And then Ala awkwardly said, yeah, that's not cool."
Yeah. She admitted that she slapped guys in the nuts, her friends in the nuts, just to see how they reacted. It was absolutely hilarious.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I heard that, and I kind of sat there for a second. I was like, "What?" I've never heard someone say that before on TV.
But this happened when Andre Drummond got hit in the groin, and usually people commentators they'll just ooh and redirect. They went all in.
Okay, no, not they.
Kudos to Kate. That was hilarious. I thought it was
all in. She went all in.
About Allah for a second, man. Can we just talk about Allah?
Yeah, Allah's been brutal. Allah's getting a little crazy up here, man.
Yo, the homerism is on another level now.
It's up a few notches this year.
You gotta take it down a little bit and let Kate do her thing, man. Let her breathe. Let the game come to her. Guy's always with some, crazy take about refereeing or not, man. I'm like, come on now.
I will say that there are times where I feel like Kate, there's almost too much dead space. I feel like there's a lot of dead space with her announcing style, which is fine. Like everyone announces different, and that's everyone's going to do different. And Mark Zumoff was not like that. But I noticed a lot of dead space, and I feel like Allah at times is trying to fill that dead space, and that to me is why I think a lot of him is coming through. Because you notice when Tom McGinnis is on there, it's the complete opposite. You never hear Allah speak because Tom is going on his radio, basically going to like his radio thing where it's just him. So it's like there's times where when Tom's on there, you don't hear Allah for a good like 3 minutes, it feels like. But when Kate's on there, you hear him every 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we need less Allah, more Kate for sure. Agreed.
Yeah.
So Tiago, do you have any last takeaways about this game?
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm concerned, man. I'm not particularly pleased with how the Sixers are playing basketball right now. We'll take the wins; they're important. They're what matters in the end. But I'm watching, Milwaukee get rounded into shape. I'm watching, Brooklyn rounded into shape. The Sixers don't look like a team that's not even in the same zip code as those teams right now. And
they have no identity. They have no identity.
I mean, their identity. We talked about this, Chris. Their identity is give Joel Embiid the ball and get that pulled away.
Yeah.
And it's what it was that last year, man. That's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So I understand the Sixers are dealing with roster issues right now with Ben being out, obviously, but this team does not look like a team that can compete much farther in the postseason, at least not at the moment. And that's concerning. I mean, so, they got a big test here coming up with Utah and Golden State. Maybe we'll see kind of a heightened level of execution from the Sixers the next couple games. If they come out those 2 games 2-0, I mean, those are just some very big tests. So we'll see.
You look at how the transition defense on this team is so god awful. They're getting just destroyed with second chance points this year, getting destroyed with opponents' offensive rebounding. And you look at the Sixers not getting anything, like literally among the worst in the NBA in points off turnovers. They were among the top last year. But
we expect that with Ben being out, right? The defense
I know, but it's so obvious, like what is missing.
Right.
Yeah.
Just offensively, it's clean sometimes.
I'm gonna say not so hot of a take, but I don't think the Sixers are gonna win the next 2 games. I'm just kind of pretty certain of that. They're playing the Jazz and what's the other team?
The Warriors on Saturday.
Oh God,
you're not winning any of those games. To me, the transition defense is a problem. The transition offense is a problem for both those teams because the Jazz are gonna hit a ton of transition threes.
Yeah.
So are the Warriors. So you're gonna have to hope you're getting people in a lot of foul trouble, just like that. That's a Sixers game plan, and that's what it is right now with Joel.
Yeah.
Get the other team in foul trouble, so that you can get some guys off the court and get easy buckets for Joel, and maybe at the end you'll stop that. The other team won't hit as many threes because that's what you're gonna have to do with the Jazz game because they're going to hit a lot of transition threes, and same with the Warriors. So I personally don't think there's a W headed the Sixers' way for those 2 games personally, but I don't know. My last takeaway before we head out of here is something that I think is a genuine thing with this Sixers and why I feel that they have a hard time drawing stars to come play with Joel. I think it's because of you look at the top tier teams, you look at the Suns. You look at the Golden State Warriors. You look at I'm not going to say Portland's top tier team. Never mind. But you look at a lot of teams where the ball is moving around a ton. You look at a lot of teams where you could have 3 stars on one team and they're all getting buckets. You look at the Sixers, and it's a lot of ball stopping.
Yeah.
A lot of ball stopping. And I don't understand why, even if you're a guard on this team, you look at Tyrese Maxey and this kind of stuff he's getting. Unless you're a bona fide star in this league coming onto this team, you're going to be second tier.
But Justin, I mean, and people are going to – please don't interpret this the wrong way because Joel Embiid is a top player in the NBA. He's one of my favorite players to watch.
Of course.
But if you are a lead guard like Dame Lillard, why would you want to play with a center who plays in the post at a 40% usage rate?
100%.
Right?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Why? And don't interpret this as a knock on Joel. But, if I'm a guard, why would I want to play with that? And on top of the fact that Joel's not really a great pick and roll player, he doesn't really flash at the rim as much. So, I mean, to me, it comes down to the player that the Sixers are building a franchise around, which is tough to do and find complementary pieces around. And I thought that the Sixers had that with Ben Simmons. Now, we're not going to rehash the Ben Simmons situation all over again, but Ben is a guy who understood his role with the team and understood that the offense flowed through Joel Embiid. Sometimes it's extreme because he refused to take shots and run offense through himself, but at least he understood that, offense was through Joel. And most guards like Dame, they want to have their own team, man, just the way it is.
And now let me say this, and I know this is something that I don't feel like a lot of outlets or people want to admit this to themselves, because I think a lot of people saw the report about Damian Lillard wanting to play with Ben Simmons, and they're like, what? Why would he not want to come play with the Sixers and want to play with the best center in the league and da-da-da-da-da? It's like, okay, yes, Joel Embiid is a top 2 center in the NBA, arguably. Why wouldn't Dame want to stay in his own city, try to play with a guy who is pretty much he's the top perimeter defender in the league, when Portland has a terrible time with perimeter defense? He's got another guy who can play make, so he can play the shooting guard, just like how Steph plays sometimes with the Golden State, and just run around picks and get open and have easier shots. Why would a guy not want that? I think a lot of people need to look at what Dame's doing and try to, and like, as much as like, yeah, you're probably not going to win. Like, you're probably not going to win a championship with just Ben and Dame in Portland when you got all the other firepower out in the West. But when you got a guy like Joel and how the East is right now, with the type of talent that's at the top of the East, it's probably not smart.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. The rubber is going to meet the road here. We heard rubbers about maybe Bradley Beal may want out now, so
Beal would make sense. Beal would make sense.
Chat about Beal, but Beal makes sense. I do think it would make more sense to take Lillard actually.
Yeah.
All right, but let's get out of here, guys. Player of the game, real fast. See, Dibes.
Tiago, you go first. I like going last.
I'm gonna go Seth Curry. I thought that first half he was critical to keep the Sixers kind of offense going, and my one player 1B is Justin's dog. Oh my God, I hate you. Can you raise the dog? Raise the dog.
The dog finally got tired and went and laid in the crate. So she's funny. She has pretty good spatial awareness for being blind.
Yeah.
She just found her crate. So she's chilling. But all right. So Dibes, do you want to go last? Are you sure about that? Okay. So I'm gonna go Shake Milton. I think Shake has been a pretty listen. I don't know how you can say what to this, because I feel like as much as Shake didn't have a ton of points in this game, he's pretty consistent. And maybe this isn't player of the game in I guess what I'm saying, but I'm kind of giving a shout out because he's been a consistent offensive piece at times for the Sixers in this stretch that they've had, where guys are really trying to get back from either COVID-related health problems or just health problems in general. He's been a guard to kind of step up in times where Furkan hasn't and other people haven't. So player of the game, Mylott and Dickerson combo. I love it. But yeah, I think Milton's looked pretty good lately. Go ahead, Dad.
Pick and roll, there were definitely flashes out of the pick and roll with him and Drummond. I'm surprised no one picked Joel Embiid. I thought, obviously him in the third quarter, 9 of 9 from the free throw line, getting it done in the post. That's what I love to see from Embiid, especially in the second half. When he had 26 in the second half last game, Monday, he had how many points here? 15 points in the third quarter. Just another great back-to-back second halves from Joel Embiid, which I'd love to see. Him getting to the free throw line, which I'd love to see. 7-0, 20 or more points this season from Joel. I thought Andre Drummond had some good minutes tonight in that second quarter, primarily when the Sixers starters were god-awful. And the bench was actually doing their job. There were some good Drummond moments in this game. So I like going off the cuff a little bit. So Drummond's my guy. Of course it's Joel Embiid. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, listen, I don't think anyone can argue with you about that. You picked the player of the game pretty much. So there you go. Guys, we're going to head out of here. But Tiago, shout out what you got going on with yourself.
Man, I'm trying to stay sane watching these Sixers games, to be honest. So we'll keep doing these. I'm hoping we'll get some good games coming up here. Like I said, with Utah and Golden State and go from there. But looking forward to the second half of the season here.
Me too. How about you, Dabs?
Tomorrow we've got our Hawkeye review. That's going down. I'm jumping in with the guys at the Pick Swap podcast tomorrow as well. Make sure you check that out. Friday, Wheel of Time review. Awesome show. If you haven't jumped on the bandwagon yet, if you love Lord of the Rings, if you love Rosamund Pike, who doesn't? She's basically a female Gandalf. It's terrific. It's really well done. So that's Friday. Saturday night is our Christmas movie draft. That is going to be a blast. I've got the 5th pick in the draft, so
if any of the Santa Claus movies are there, you have to pick one.
I'm a big fan of the Santa Claus movies. Big fan. I think there's a good chance. So that's Saturday, and then of course Eagles post-game shows on Sunday, and then truthfully, this is all about Spider-Man week starting tomorrow. We're literally almost a week away from Spider-Man No Way Home. Next week, I have shows literally lined up every single night next week. My wife is going to kill me. So it's going to be very painful for the Mr. Crockpots world next week.
But here's the
I
thing.
cannot wait for No Way Home. Cannot wait.
It's going to all be worth it once that movie comes out. It's going to be all
Can't wait.
So, yes, go follow those two on Twitter. Guys, Blue Coats basketball. Blue Coats have a away game tomorrow. But they do come back home, I believe. Or no. Wait, am I wrong?
I have no idea.
Oh, man. What's today?
Today's the 8th.
Damn, I thought they came. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. So they have an away game tomorrow, an away game Saturday, but they come home on Sunday. So I will be in the stadium on Sunday, and I'll try to be covering the games, their away games online this week as well on the Thursday and on Saturday games. But Paul Reed is still down with the Blue Coats. You got Shaq Harrison down there, Aaron Henry, Jaden Springer. Man, I'll tell you what, Jaden Springer, Shaq Harrison, perimeter defense.
Yeah.
Insane. Like Jaden Springer, Jaden Springer just their past 3 games had 5 steals in each game.
Yeah.
So obviously very, very high praise to Jaden Springer's perimeter defense there. So if you want to see some exclusive content and if you want to understand what's going on with the Blue Coats, go follow me on Twitter as well. It's right down there so you can see it right there. So go follow these boys on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. It was from these upcoming Sixers losses.
Have faith, man. Have faith. They're at home. They should play well at home.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, we'll see. I personally think they're both going to be losses, but listen, I'm also not a betting man, and I'm also not I'm not always right, so who knows? But guys, we're gonna head out of here. We've been on here for a while, so for Dives, for Tiago, for me, we'll see you next time. I'm tired. If it wants to let me end the broadcast. Oh no, it's not letting me end the broadcast. Someone end it.